In the United States, one of Donald Trump's former advisors from his time as president has gone to prison today. Peter Navarro turned himself over to authorities in Florida a short time ago to start a 4-month sentence. Navarro was convicted of contempt of Congress, and he refused to cooperate with an investigation into the attack on the U.S. Capitol 3 years ago. Just before heading to jail, Navarro spoke to reporters, and he was very clear about who he blames for his conviction and sentence.
Every person who has taken me on this road to that prison is a friggin' Democrat and a Trump hater. I'm pissed. That's what I'm feeling right now, but I'm also afraid of only one thing. I'm afraid for this country, because what they're doing should have a chilling effect on every American, regardless of their party. If they come for me, they can come for you.
Watching all of that unfold, the CBC's Alex Panetta in Washington. Alex joining us now. Alex, Navarro, now the first Trump-era official to land in prison in connection with his attempts to overturn the 2020 election result. Talk to us about what led up to this moment.
Yeah, it's quite an extraordinary event. As you said, he's the first official going to jail in this case. And it's a milestone on several fronts. Navarro's the first person in decades to see the inside of a prison cell as the result of a conviction for contempt of Congress. He's the first White House official or former White House official to have this happen to him. And he's the highest ranking person, as you said, in prison over the events of January 6th. Neither Donald Trump nor any White House officials involved in that episode have been convicted, at least not yet. So here's how it started. People might remember Navarro for his previous role as a trade advisor, one of these hardline America First types. But in late 2020, he was also among the architects of what he's called the Green Bay Sweep. It's a playful reference to an old football strategy. But the plan here was dead serious. It was to flood the zone, so to speak, and make life miserable for officials planning to certify Joe Biden's election win. The plan was to get Congress to delay that certification on January 6th and then pressure state legislatures to keep Trump in office. So Congress wanted to hear from Navarro during these January 6th hearings. It sent him a subpoena in 2022. He ignored that subpoena. He insists this was his right. He cited executive privilege, invoking this constitutional principle that Congress can't just harass any administration official it wants. The prosecution said he did not have this right, not in this case. He'd already spoken publicly and written about the issues involved here. And besides, they said he didn't have the right to just not show up. He had to show up and then answer questions or invoke executive privilege. So the courts agreed with the prosecution. Navarro was found guilty. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison, and now he's appealing the verdict. But this week, the Supreme Court ruled that, appeal or not, he has to serve his sentence. And in the meantime, he's off to jail.
But before he went to jail, he gave that news conference. Talk to us a little bit about the scene as he was addressing whoever was there, along with the reporters, because you were watching that.
That's right. So let the record show that the first ever White House official jailed for contempt of Congress held a defiant news conference in a strip mall outside of Papa John's Pizzeria. Navarro convened the media to this Q&A session outside the Miami Federal Corrections Institute, where he'll be staying. He promoted his upcoming book on Trump's policies. He also promised to keep fighting, citing these important constitutional principles. Let's have a listen.
I am not nervous. I'm not talking about, I'm going to claim executive privilege on the Donald Trump conversations. I've had the greatest amount of support from Donald Trump and his team. If they can put me in prison, they can put you in prison. Make no mistake about that. And make no mistake about this, they are coming after Donald Trump with the same tactics, tools, and strategies they used to put me over there today.
One point he made is that Steve Bannon, another former Trump aide, has also been convicted in a similar case, a contempt charge. But that case is a bit different in the sense that Bannon wasn't actually working in the White House. Now, what's also different is that Bannon, despite being convicted, and despite appealing like Navarro, well, he's been allowed to remain free. A judge in Bannon's case said his appeal raises important legal questions, and that, and this is in a judge's ruling, said his conviction could be overturned. Navarro wondered why he didn't enjoy those same privileges. So he's now off to a prison. Now he's probably inside by now, a prison in the south end of Miami. A former inmate at the prison, a convicted fraudster, says he's talked to Navarro about the place It's next to the Miami Zoo, and apparently every morning, the inmates can hear the sound of lions roaring. It's a low-security facility. Inmates get very little privacy, but they get air conditioning, TV, email access, and apparently the sounds of an eventful safari in sub-Saharan Africa every morning.
Alex, from a Papa John's to a prison. Thanks for that. The CBC's Alex Panetta in Washington.